How sailing caused the biggest market collapse in OSRS history.
Caused one of the biggest market crashes we've ever seen in OSRS. And I don't just mean small dips. I'm talking items losing 30, 40, and even 50% of their value in just weeks. People will say it's just normal price fluctuations, but when the tormented bracelet drops from 25 million to 17 million, that's not normal fluctuations, that's a market crash. Let's start with the numbers, because they're genuinely wild. The tormented bracelet was sitting comfortably at 25 mil for months. Stable price, steady
I'm about to make
demand.
one of these right now.
Everyone knew what it was worth. But then sailing dropped, and within weeks it crashed to 17 million GP. But it gets worse. The Soul Reaper axe was one of the most expensive melee weapons in the game, sitting at around 250 mil. Now it's sitting at 200 mil. That's 50 million GP evaporated. If you bought one a month ago, you've just lost the equivalent of a week or a couple of weeks of grinding. You might hear people say just wait it out as prices will recover. But these crashes aren't random, they're systematic, and we might not be looking at a recovery that some people think. But to give a bit of context for those who don't know, sailing was just released. It introduced new methods that require massive amounts of GP. Players are spending hundreds of millions on supplies, materials, on whatever they need to level the skill fast. Therefore, they need liquid cash now. But most players don't have 200 million sitting around in their bank. Their wealth is tied up in items, in those expensive weapons and armor pieces they bought for bossing or PKing. But things like planks are going through the roof, because sailing requires massive amounts of them for ship upgrades and construction. Therefore, everyone training sailing now is buying thousands of planks at once, and the market can't keep up with demand. Nails are another huge one. Steel nails, mithril nails, prices have spiked because you need such high quantities of them. What used to be cheap throwaway items are now worth banking and selling. But things are interesting because there are some rare materials that drop from specific monsters that are exploding in value right now. We've had an array of new cannonballs added to the game, and these are being bought in mass amounts. There's been so many new things added to the game, and this might just be the start of things as we're only a few weeks in. Yes, there's a lot of people who are grinding the skill now, but think about all the people who haven't had a chance to play it yet, and all the new people who are yet to start playing. I think throughout 2026, a lot of people are still going to be starting this skill from fresh. So not only the high level materials are going to be...
I'm not a main, but I do enjoy studying like the economics and of the graphs and stuff like that and why prices are crashing. But yeah, introducing a new skill into the game does seem like all items would crash because everyone would need to sell them to go liquid to buy supplies to raise the new skill, and all the money would go into the demand of the new supplies that people would need. I mean, this seems very, very obvious, like something that would happen. Maybe not to this degree though. So let's see if he continues more.
Be in demand, but I think we'll see an ongoing demand for the low level materials as well. It's definitely interesting what we're seeing, because normally when we see a crash, it's due to an update that's big but not as big as sailing. It's either a new boss, a new area, a new minigame, or just general new content. There's never been a skill that changes the game this much added to the game. I mean, players who want...
Yeah, this is the first time any skill's ever been added to the game like this, so nobody really knows what to expect. But the patterns make sense when he's explaining it the way he is here.
Even initially interested in sailing are trying the skill. So this collective of casual sailing players and the people who are grinding it are probably going to be the reason why we see the market stabilize on the low end. So it's no surprise why people are panic selling. It's very similar to the real world when people sell when they see a crash. They see their bank value dropping daily. So what do? They sell. And when thousands of players all try to sell their tormented bracelet at the same time, when everyone's dumping their Soul Reaper axe to fund sailing,
that's the time to buy. That's the time to buy right there.
It gets flooded with noxious halberds. Prices collapse. It's basic supply and demand. The supply of these items hitting the market massively increased, but the demand didn't increase to match it. Therefore, prices had to crash to find buyers. And here's what amplifies it and makes it worse.
Gotta buy high and sell low. Everybody knows that. That's how you get rich.
Prices start dropping, panic selling begins. Players see their tormented bracelet drop from 25 mil to 23 mil and think, I need to sell now before it drops more. But that panic selling just accelerates the crash. Therefore, we get these massive drops in just days or weeks. But who's getting destroyed by this the most? Because it's not affecting everyone equally. mid-level players who finally saved up for their first big item. They're getting crushed. Imagine grinding for months to afford a 55 mil Noxious Halberd. You finally buy it, it feels amazing, and then 2 weeks later it's worth 43 mil. You just lost 12 million GP, possibly weeks of your time through no fault of your own. But high level players who have multiple expensive items are losing even more in total value. If you had a Soul Reaper axe, a Tormented bracelet and a Noxious Halberd in your bank, you just lost roughly 70 mil in combined value. That's insane.
Damn.
There are players who are winning from this. The ones who either sold everything before sailing dropped, or the ones who have enough cash to buy these.
I wonder what Oda Block's bank looking like. When the market crashes like that, I bet Oda sees some crazy dips in his bank numbers.
Crashed items now. Therefore, this crash is essentially transferring wealth from unprepared players to the ones who saw it coming. And people will say that's just how a market works. And they're completely right, and I get that.
He lost like $50,000 in USD value when sailing dropped? Oh my god.
Doesn't make it any better when your bank value tanks. So what happens now? Will prices recover? Will they crash even further? Let's run through 3 scenarios. Say the sailing hype dies down. Players finish their training. They stop needing liquid GP and they're back buying their gear again. In this case, demand increases. Prices stabilize and we might see partial recovery. Maybe the Tormented bracelet goes back to 22 mil. But a full recovery so soon is unlikely. Say in the second scenario, sailing becomes a permanent GP sink. If the skill has ongoing costs, if people keep needing money for it in the long term, then the pressure on these items continues. Therefore, prices might stabilize at these new lower levels and never fully recover. In the third scenario, say more crashes are on the way, because I don't hear enough people talking about the new content that's coming. Jagex is actively developing OSRS. Every new skill, every new boss, every new money sink could trigger another wave of panic selling. Therefore, we might just be seeing history repeat itself. The OSRS economy is more volatile than ever because of how active development is. Holding expensive items long term is becoming even more risky by the day. But what should you actually do with this information? If you're holding crashed items right now, you have a decision to make. You can hold and hope for recovery, which might happen but it's not guaranteed. Or you can cut your losses and sell now, and reinvest that GP either into sailing training or items.
Soy Duro! Thank you very much for that raid. Congrats on your new items, my friend. You're putting in work on that hardcore, bro. You deserve it. Proud of you, bud. Well done, my friend. Watching a video on markets collapsing in RuneScape and what to do if you are a mainscape player. This does not apply to me, but I am interested. Apparently, the market is crashing 30%. It might be a DCA and HODL angle, but I'm not sure.
You think will recover faster? There's no perfect answer. It depends on your risk tolerance and how much you care.
Thank you for that, bro.
But here is what I would recommend. You should diversify. Don't keep your entire bank in 1 or 2 expensive items anymore.
Damn.
The risk is just too high. Spread your wealth across multiple items,
Wow.
skills, and liquid GP. That way,
This is like a lesson in actual investing right here. This guy is using RuneScape as like financial advice for at the actual market. Everything he's saying here like translates 1-to-1 just about.
if one item crashes, you're not losing everything. Also, pay attention to updates. When Jagex announces new content that will require massive GP investments, that's your signal. Either sell your expensive items before everyone else does, or buy them after the crash when prices
Oh, you're saying that the stock market uses RuneScape for advice. That makes sense. So this guy's one of the big dogs.
bottom out. And probably one of the best things to come from this, if you're a brand new player still building your first cash stack, this crash is actually an opportunity. Items that were completely unaffordable a month ago are now within reach. A 17 mil Tormented bracelet is way better than 25 mil. Therefore, you might have been saving up for it and all of a sudden you can buy it. There's no doubt that sailing caused a massive market crash, which has cost players hundreds of millions in total bank value. So stay informed, diversify your wealth, and remember, every crash is someone else's opportunity. The question is whether you'll be the one losing or the one capitalizing. Check out the video on screen where I talk about the fastest 99s in OSRS history. Tap like on this video. I hope you're having a good day, and until the next one, peace.
Got him. I like that. It's kind of a cool video, just like learning about the market that I'll never use, because we're Iron Man life, Iron Man gang forever. Hell yeah. Well, guys, hopefully that gave you guys some advice on what to do if you're a Mainscape player. You can either buy now, buy some items that are dipping, maybe cash out, make a few million off each of the items when they go back up. That's kind of what you do. Buy low, sell high. Once sailing stabilizes, I'm sure the prices will go back up again. Maybe the demand will go back up once people start hitting Doom and Yama more often again. A lot of people are just doing sailing right now. So all the people are trying to rush and get items that people will buy for sailing. It might be fun to play a main at some point and play the GP scape, play the auction house, see if I could get more money than Oda Block, you know. But that'll probably be one day, long time down the road. I'm investing in Monkey Nuts. I think there's already a bunch of people who are invested in Monkey Nuts. If Monkey Nuts ever take off, I'll tell you there's one guy who's going to be very rich. That guy's Moist Critical. He's going to be very, very wealthy.